You're listening to Pilot Talk by OSM Aviation.
Okay, Michelle. I'm sure that there's lots of our listeners that are asking themselves, why should I become a pilot, or should I become a pilot? It's probably even a better question to ask, right? Is this right for me?
Yeah, I think we need to promote the wonderful world of aviation.
Yeah, it's a really fantastic industry, man, and it's really fun to be in. Like, there's so many smart, talented, social people in this industry.
Yeah,
and and I think, but then again, I think you kind of. Have you heard that people say it's a lifestyle to be a pilot?
I have.
And I think that it's a lifestyle that's just spot on, really perfect for some people. For others, maybe not so much.
Well, it's not for everybody. You can't just be a brain surgeon and say, well, I'm going to be a brain surgeon as well. But it's not. It's a specific job for some specific people, but it is a lifestyle, definitely.
Yeah. And I think what we can offer to the listeners today is, just talk it out between the two of us, what we see as the pros and
and the cons.
Yeah, and
both
think
sides.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's try to give a balanced picture of it. The problem, I think, the issue or the challenge for me and you is that we both love it so much that it's going to be tough to find the bad parts because we just ignore them, right? Or I don't know.
I mean, if I really think about it,
we can probably find a few things.
A couple of things.
Yeah.
But
all the traveling,
What made you decide to be a pilot? Let's start with that.
That's a really good question. Man, you talk to these people who are like, they just go, when I was 3 years old, I saw a plane, and I was like, I knew it from that moment on. I'm not one of those guys.
Oh, no? Okay.
No, I'm not one of those guys. And it was a slow start for me. So, right, so my dad's cousin, he was the base captain in Bergen, where I'm from.
Right.
At a regional airline, Widerøe. And he was a really cool guy.
Bergen, Norway.
What's that? Bergen, Norway. Yeah.
Okay. Just to make sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more of them.
More Bergen, yeah.
The rainy one. One that has 270 days of rain every year or whatever it is.
Close to England.
And they actually, this is a good one. They actually say that the pilots in Bergen, they feel way better than the rest of the Berganians because they actually get to see the sun every day.
It's always sunny on top.
Yeah, it's always sunny above the clouds.
That's right.
That's one of the really good things, honestly.
That's a good motivation.
Like climbing through the clouds, like, man, there is no other feeling like that. Yeah. When you climb through the cloud layer and you come up on top, and if it's an early morning and the sun's rising, or a late evening and the sun's setting, or if the sun's just up.
Even at night.
Seeing
the stars and all that. Oh, yeah.
Starry sky.
Brilliant. Yeah. Don't start singing.
I won't, because then people will stop listening because they get, air trauma or whatever. So I went up flying with him a couple of times.
Right.
Yeah, so, jump seat, as we call it. So I sat with them in the cockpit.
As a teenager?
I guess I was a teenager, yeah.
Right.
And I was just fascinated, man, when I saw them working together in the cockpit and talking to air traffic control, and they have, the phraseology, you got the language, the way they speak, and the efficiency and the synergy. And I was like, man, like,
I want this.
This is cool,
Yeah.
And at that point, I started looking into it. So I was like, all right, what can I do to see if this is right for me? And what I chose to do is to get my private pilot license. So I started flying at my local flying club.
Good idea.
Next to working.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good idea for me because I wasn't sure that it was for me. But if anyone's listening and you know that this is the only thing you want to do, then just go straight to a flight school and go through an integrated program, because taking a private pilot license or a PPL would just be a waste of time and money at that point.
True.
But for me, it was important, right? Yeah. So, I tried it and I thought it was awesome. I thought it was super cool. And then I discovered that I'm pretty good at this flying thing.
So you didn't get airsick? You saw that you're coordinated.
Yeah,
well, it was easy for you to...
Trust me, I was not very coordinated in the beginning, as you would expect, but it came around, and I just felt like every time I learned a new skill or like made it to the next level, it was such a satisfying experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're just such a fulfilling, rewarding achievement.
It's a steep climb, but the rewards are incredible.
Exactly. Just like anything else, you know, if it's hard to get, if it takes some work, once you get there, it just feels all the better.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. So started there, and then eventually when I got my PPL, I was like, hey, you know what? Screw this. I ran my own company at the time, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go for this. Just get rid of that company, and I got into a flight school, Norwegian flight school that was, but they had a satellite base in the U.S.
Yeah.
So I got in there, went to the U.S., went to Miami, did all my flight training there. Florida, great place to fly, great place to live.
The Sunshine State.
Almost lost all my friends when I posted pictures there during December laying at the beach, you know. I mean, studying hard. But yeah, and then I did my training there. And then for me, because I wanted to work for Videra, I knew I had to become an instructor because I needed to gain hours. I need to have, I don't know what it was at the time, 800 hours of piloting command or something like that.
So you became an instructor once you got your graduated...
as soon as I was a commercial pilot and I did all my theoretical exams, I just went straight to instructor school.
Because...
no, initially it was to gain the hours, honestly, which I'll be blunt about that. That was the reason. And actually, you know, a bit leading up to it too, I kind of discovered that passion for, I liked, like, you know, and there's a class starting after, and the other guys would be like, man, I don't really understand this about the class Bravo versus class Charlie airspace, or, you know, whatever it was. And if I understood it or I knew it, I would really enjoy explaining it and trying to help them understand.
Right.
So that's when I kind of like started getting hints that I might really enjoy this instructing thing. But initially it was just to gain the hours. But then as I started working as an instructor, I worked there for, 3 months, I think, after the fact. And during the time I was looking for jobs in other parts of the country because I wanted to experience more of the United States. I mean, I liked Florida, but I wanted to go to California too.
Sure.
And that's when I got the instructor job at what was then SAA, or they're still called SAA.
In San Diego.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Right.
So
you had this instructor's instinct already from the start, basically.
And it kind of came a little bit, once again, it came a little bit slowly, but then, as I started working as that.
You had it in you.
Yeah. And because for me, that's like, I love working with people, like, teamwork, communicating, helping people, seeing people develop and grow. Yeah, people person. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
And I think you have to be that if you want to be a good instructor.
Yeah.
Which we're going to talk about that maybe later on in the episodes coming.
Yeah, we should do an episode on that, on flight instructing for sure. Idea. Yeah, for sure. And, I think also one of the things that made me keep enjoying it for such a long time is you do a lot of hand flying. You just basically hand fly all the time. It's all about
automation
flying.
On that.
No, I mean we show them how the autopilot works. We use it every now and then, but the majority of the time it's stick and rudder.
That's where you gain your skills.
That's how you learn. That's where because the autopilot, when everything's working and you're flying at the autopilot, that's easy, man. That's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. No issues at all. Yeah. So I think that was my long answer to that question. What about you?
That was good. That was a good answer, actually. I'm happy you did that. Good progression. Well, I was like the other guy. I was 3-4 years old, and when I saw airplanes for the first time, I was intrigued. I was curious, and I think it stayed in me for a while. And then the old man had a glider license, and we had sort of a glider. A share and all that, and I started gliding, and we were sailing as well. And God bless my father. He gave me a good path to expand, if you want, my ideas. And I joined the military. I was at school, but I wanted to be a pilot. And when I did my gliding, when I was in my teens, my early teens, it was in me. It was I don't know how to say it, but I was born with these skills, It's funny. As soon as I sat down and the guy explained me how to take off, and I did it all by myself the first time. And after 3 hours of flight, I was ready for solo.
That is.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's impressive, man.
It is. And
yeah.
then I joined the military, and I've never stopped. Well, I stopped now, but because I'm old. But no, I never had any problems at all with flying. I love flying. It's a lifestyle. I think I was born with it. But I'm like you. I'm a people person. I love instructing. There's nothing better than to instruct someone about something you know and something you're passionate about. I think there's nothing wrong being an instructor. I actually personally think that everybody should go through, if you have that kind of skills, to be an instructor. You need to pass it on to the younger generation, because I don't think there's a better job in the world. Yeah. Really.
Giving back to the next generation of pilots.
Absolutely, yeah. You glorify it and all that, but sometimes it's not that great.
What are those times?
Well, the times, first of all, at the beginning of your first job, your second job, you could have what they call the bad jobs, where you're flying crazy schedules. You have to go away somewhere far away from your family to gain the hours. You're tired. And you're exposed to a lot of things like the radiation up in the altitudes and all that stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that people don't talk about. But
I think that part you mentioned about moving is interesting, because any other profession, if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant, there's always going to be jobs in those areas in your hometown. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
But in aviation, not necessarily. And even if you have an employer that you'd like to work for that has a base close to where you grew up or close to where you live, they're not necessarily hiring when you start applying for jobs.
That's right.
So for the first job, like you said, it's not like riding a bike. Once you graduate, you gotta get into that first job, or definitely keep flying, or else you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly.
And that means being prepared to move for the first job. So if that's in Barcelona, you move to Barcelona. If that's in London, you move to London. If that's in Warsaw, wherever it is.
You got to do what you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's, that's true for any industry when you're trying to make it, right? Right out of the school, the first job you get is not necessarily the dream job.
No. I think you have to work for it. I mean, you got to go to work at it. It's one of those things that makes maybe the job as a pilot at the beginning not so nice.
Yeah, because you're going to miss your family, you're going to miss your friends.
You're going somewhere else. You have to live in a hotel.
Yeah,
it's not what you want. That's right. It's the lifestyle is not as nice. However, the reward at the end, with all that effort you put in and the sacrifice, it will catch up, and you will get what you want.
Yeah, which is
top-notch, left seat, wide body, fly-by-wire, 3 flights a month.
I gotcha. Making as much money as possible while flying as little as possible. That's the dream scenario.
But one thing that, and I have to be honest, when I decided to become a pilot, it was for the money. Okay. Definitely, I was in university and all that stuff, and I knew that flying for me was an easy path. Yeah. But it was also a path where I saw it as a money-making job. It was a profession that I could, have my lifestyle that I wanted. Yeah. Yeah. Nowadays, it's a little bit different, but, in my time, long time ago.
I think that, some people, and for those who have, because someone asked me this, like pilot salaries and that kind of stuff, aren't they really bad? They said, and I was like, that depends on what you're looking at. And they said, well, I've heard about pilots in the United States that have to work 2 jobs, and they don't make a lot of money, and and I think that's kind of those entry level jobs that you're talking about. Because if you're a pilot at Delta or American Airlines or Southwest, you're going to be
scrapping.
Going to be making a good salary.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
And the same thing goes for the majors in Europe. You know, the bigger the airline, the better the salaries. Could we say that, or is that an oversimplification?
No, I think that's a good way of saying it.
It's a good rule of thumb, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But the really big salaries now, that's in China, man.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
I just had a buddy that started working there, and he's a captain. He makes $320,000 a year.
Tax free.
That's crazy. You know, so the range is just nuts.
I know.
And you hear about these regional pilots in the U.S.
And they're making terrible. They're
I think it's getting better now, though.
$20 an hour.
Oh wow, Jesus!
Yeah, these guys. Oh. Yeah. But the good thing of being in Europe is that you actually will make a bit more money than being in America.
That's
if you
so.
start.
Yeah,
I think so. Because in America, they have the 1,500-hour rule.
Oh, that's right.
That you can't really fly a commercial aircraft until you have at least 1,500 hours total time. So in the meantime, you have to do the dirty jobs flying.
Yeah.
You know, parachute pilot, tow banner pilot. You name it, sightseeing pilot.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and those are the ones that have crazy schedules. And
yeah, and these are the guys that will tell you that flying is not great.
Yeah.
You know.
I hear you. And just for those who don't know, the 1,500-hour requirements is pretty new, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
a couple of years back after the Buffalo, New York accident.
On the ATR.
That kind of triggered those discussions, and that went into regulatory changes. And because before it used to be just like in Europe, as long as you had a commercial license and 250-something hours,
that's it. Yeah.
And we're able to pass a type rating, then, you know.
I think that was the extreme change they did.
Yeah.
You know, due to one bad accident.
Yeah. Some would argue that that was a regulatory overreaction, and they've...
A knee-jerk reaction.
A knee-jerk, yeah. So like a instinctive reaction, so to speak.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, because in Europe it really works like well with the integrated program, with that model or the MPL model. Works really good in preparing.
I think the discipline is much more... we are more disciplined. And our regulatory, the following and all that, and the rules and regs are much more, I think, more comprehensive than the FAA side. You know. So but it's still a great job. Great job. We need more women in aviation.
Yeah, we do. How many women is in aviation now?
Oh, good question.
You know, I've heard around 6-7% on global.
Really?
On the global scale.
That's not many.
It's not many, man. And some countries are higher, some are lower. You know, but And what do you think that is?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I get this question.
I think it was more. That's a good question, actually. I think it's more of the stigma of, the cockpit was a male office. Yeah. And now I think that now with the the sex equalization and all that, people are waking up and saying, "Hey, why not? They're as good as we are."
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. So we're hoping that we are. Hopefully, the listeners are listening, and we will tell you that the doors are open for everybody. Everybody can be a pilot. Not everybody can make it to the airlines. We have to be honest on that. But in the future episodes, we're going to have some female pilots talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, actually.
Yeah, we're going to have some female guests on and ask them the same questions, but they probably have better answers than we do.
For sure.
The interesting thing is that but many times when I've gotten this question from others, it has been from girls or women. They ask me, hey, why are there not more women in aviation? And I go, honestly, I don't know.
I wouldn't be able to answer that.
I don't know. And I've thought about it quite a bit. And obviously, you know, like you said, it's been a male-dominated profession for such a long time. Maybe that's also part of the reason, because there's not enough female role models. But I think that's changing. I see lots of really cool female pilots that have a big social media following, like Pilot Maria or Maria the Pilot, or those girls. And Maria the Pilot's a former student here at the school.
Oh, okay.
At OSM Aviation Academy, yeah. And, you know, she's had a fantastic career. And
we should have her on our show.
I think she's about to become a captain, too.
Wow. Good on her.
Don't quote me on that, but it should be about time now.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
She's worked hard for it, man. And I think that it's really important that you know, that there are female role models like them that are out there and showing girls, young girls, that this is a ladies' profession as well. Because like you said, we need more girls. It's going to balance everything out. It's, you know, we have this male-dominated, somewhat macho culture, and they kind of like balance that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I think that one of the reasons, though, that I've come up with, or that I think might be a contributing factor, is that since the airline industry has been so male-dominated, we're not as good as employers, and I'm talking about the airlines now, the employers of the pilots, to facilitate for, you know, maternity leave, family planning, that kind of stuff.
I agree.
And I think that might be a turn-off to some of the women that are looking to get into aviation.
It's getting better, though.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to get better, right?
Yeah.
Because if we don't get more women excited about this profession, we're not going to be able to get enough pilots in the years to come.
No.
It's just not possible.
And we need a lot of pilots.
We need a lot of pilots.
Lots of pilots, yeah.
Lots of qualified pilots.
Exactly. Well, you know, I was one of the first military pilots to train females in the military. And
when was this?
Oh my God, that was in 1980, I think 82.
1982.
182 was one day we were given 4 females at the second flying schools in the military, jet school. And I was given one, and 3 other of my colleagues had one. And I tell you, they were far superior drivers than the normal male candidates that we had. I don't know why they were special, but I was quite impressed with them. Very well coordinated. They could do aerobatics like nobody's business. It was just fantastic. Yeah. And now, I don't know, we might have maybe 300-400 females now in the military.
That's good.
Flying for us. And you see it. I mean, there's more. There's the first Blue Angel pilot just got the job last week. So it's getting better.
It's a positive trend. That's good.
It is.
Right? That's something to be excited about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Good for her.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see her fly.
Cool.
She got to be good.
Blue Angels are amazing. For those of you who don't know, they do these amazing aerobatic air shows.
Unbelievable.
And they fly so close. Like, if you haven't seen it already, go to YouTube, search for Blue Angels.
Check it out.
And just pick your jaw off the floor when you're done watching.
Overlapping wings and all that stuff. It's unbelievable.
It's a precision like no other.
Yeah. Right on.
Cool. Well, you know, what else is there? What other reason? We talked about pay.
Yeah.
You know, you can definitely work your way up, get a good paying job with a nice schedule. But just like any other job, when you're new, you got to work your way up. You got to put in the work. But once you get there and you get to a great place, it's one of the best jobs in the world.
Yeah, you travel.
What's that?
You travel.
You travel. That's one thing that we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
For those who like to see the world, I mean, you get to see it from a very unique perspective.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know,
it's like being an astronaut.
What's that?
It's like being an astronaut.
Yeah,
it's just lower, but
a little bit lower. But I think, you know, like just when I was living in the U.S., I went to San Francisco and we went to see the Golden Gate Bridge, right? And it was cool. It's a massive, engineering feat to put that bridge up. And every year or every time they finish painting it, they have to start over because it takes such a long time. And it was cool and all, but I'd already been flying over it. Like every time when we went to San Francisco, we used to ask if we could go out and do like a couple of steep turns. Yeah, go visual, do a couple of turns over the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
And then, like flying over the Grand Canyon. That's amazing, you understand. Oh, that's why they call it the Grand Canyon, because it is huge. Yeah. And the list just goes on and on.
Oh, yeah.
But I think you're right. The traveling part's cool, even though, sometimes you just go there to the airport and you sleep at the airport hotel and then you go on to the next leg. But
or a quick turnaround, sort of.
Or a quick turnaround, yeah. It might just even be offloading and unloading passengers and then flying back. But you get to see the world from the air.
Yeah.
And depending on your schedule and the airline you work for, there's still layovers and you'll spend a couple of nights there.
And plus you can bring your family.
That's true.
You've got airline tickets. You've got benefits.
Yeah.
Your wife can follow you when you're going on a layover. Some company will allow that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
Or
things
wives, female pilots still allowed to bring their husbands too.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that, you have also couples that are flying for the same company. Male and female.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, it's getting such a way that it's a great job. For men and female.
Yeah,
it's great.
You know what I like about it too, since we're on the subject?
What?
It's the fact that it's a theoretical job as well as a practical job. I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you got to know metrology and you got to know how to navigate. You got to know all the theoretical elements behind those things, but it's the practical application in combination with that theoretical knowledge that I think makes it a
very good
craft as well as, an academic profession. So
you're right. There's much more to it than just flying the airplane.
Yeah. And for someone like me, I mean, like I enjoy reading and stuff like that. But at the time when I went through flight training, I was kind of, over it going to school and going up in that plane. Yeah. That really motivated me to study.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, just going for a flight and then you got, all right, now I got a boost to open the books again.
Yeah, aerodynamics and all that, and MET and weather and all things that you actually use all the time, but sometimes just subconsciously. It's always on your mind, and you always have to refresh yourself. And no, you're totally right. There's much more to it. Just stick and rudder.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing behind it, and it's an attraction for some people. And like you said, it's you like it. I love it because if I don't know it, I feel lost. So it's I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need more people.
That's for sure. So the timing is good too. That's another good reason to become a pilot. Yeah. The outlook, the need.
Electric airplanes.
And electric airplanes, yeah.
How cool is that?
That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. So they're going to be using that now for training.
Yeah.
So just that there is a magnet.
Yeah. And you know what I thought about the other day that's really cool about the electric planes? You get no loss in performance as you climb.
That's right.
There's no combustion.
That's right.
The air gets thinner. It doesn't matter, man. It's all electric.
I never thought about that.
It's pretty cool.
You're right. It's linear.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah. That's I guess the prop loses efficiency in the wings and that kind of stuff. But the engine. Man.
The engine is always on.
Keep going. Yeah. So the ceiling's like way higher than the Cessna or something like that.
And it's quieter.
Yeah. No emissions.
Oh, yeah. Environmentally friendly.
Yeah, indeed. As long as we charge it with renewable energy, it's all...
Exactly.
It's green.
Yeah. And OSM Aviation just bought a whole bunch of them.
What's that?
OSM Aviation just bought a whole bunch.
How many?
Bought a whole bunch. I think they bought 60. They've got 60 airplanes, plus they might have an option for others as well.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I had it's funny, after we put out that press release, I had a couple of students joking about if we put in a 0 too much when we placed the order, like, oh, we wanted to order 6. We got 60.
Made a mistake.
Yeah. Oh, bummer.
No, they're 60. They're about $500,000 a piece, so you're looking at $30 million right there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be the first.
That's what, yeah.
To succeed in this business, you have to be unique because there's so many. It's like a restaurant. You know? I think that the uniqueness and the special way we do business with OSM, I think it's the future's there.
Yeah. We've got to take the lead. And
Absolutely.
Then, obviously that it's just, as a collective species, we need to look after the environment, right? This is a huge step in that direction.
We are responsible.
Yeah.
Only one Earth.
Only one Earth.
Yeah.
Well, Elon Musk might be able to take us to Mars, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
No, I don't know either. I'd rather stay here.
I know. But we're off subject a little bit. But, but one of the attractions for the future pilots, definitely the airplanes that we're going to be using for training should be something. I would be motivated to join a flight academy that has an electric airplane before I go for a diesel or normally aspirated gasoline engine. Yeah,
I think that a lot of the youngsters today is going to resonate the same way as you do.
Yeah,
because just like you said, it's just I look at the young people growing up today, and I'm like, they're so responsible.
Yeah.
And mature, and they think about these things at a sophisticated level. So, there's all this talk about emissions and CO2 and all that stuff, but it's just 2% of the global CO2 emissions from aviation.
It's not that much.
2%.
Yeah.
And, I think there are areas where we can save a lot more in terms of CO2 emission.
I agree.
Because the positive thing about aviation is what? It connects the world, right?
Yeah.
It removes borders, it makes us understand other cultures, and it makes people collaborate on a global scale.
Exactly.
For the benefit of us all and the benefit of the planet, we can't slow that down. We need to stay connected. We need to have a global environment. And you can't take a train across the Atlantic.
No. It's going to be by air.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's so many things to see out there.
Yeah.
And being a pilot is one of those things that will bring you closer to all those diverse cultures and all that. That's another thing that good of being a pilot is that you learn other cultures.
Yeah.
Even though you don't understand them, but it's the curiosity of humans.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's great. What else? We talk about travel, we talk money for sure, lifestyle.
Yeah.
God, the time off that you have.
Mm-hmm. It's hard work when you're at work, but then you got a pretty, like you said, you get good time off.
Yeah, you play hard, but, you work hard, but you play hard.
Exactly. Well put. That's how the saying goes.
Yeah. So eventually, after so many years of working hard and all that, it's going to pay off. Once you join the ranks of a top airline, then you'll be able to enjoy much more the lifestyle.
What about you? Would you do it again? If you could go back and do it all over again, would you still become a pilot?
In a heartbeat.
Same thing here, man. I wouldn't want to do anything else.
I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah,
No, I'd love to. Actually, I'd love to do it again.
Yeah.
I just had such a great time. I got so much memories. I wish you could just see half of it. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I could write a book on it.
You should.
I should.
You should. You got some good stories, man.
We'll talk about that one
Some
day.
that we'll bring up on the podcast and some that you should save for the book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's, I think what you just said there is one of the really, really positive things of being at a flight school. Like we are here today recording this, and
right.
We get these young people coming new classes starting every 6 months, and they just come in with this incredible enthusiasm, and everything is new to them, and they're just doing this for the first time. They got the spark, and it's contagious. Like you get that, it just yeah.
Oh, it's just like the big sponge. They just absorb everything you tell them, and that's another reason why you should be a flying instructor.
Yeah, and I feed off that energy, man. It boosts me too when you see these youngsters and the enthusiasm that they have and the go get it attitude and the hard work that they put in. It's just like, man, it's an energy boost for those of us who's you become used to it or you become accustomed to it, but then you just get reminded how freaking amazing it is.
And each one of them are, different, and they all have the same goals, but they're all different. And it makes your life much more interesting as a flight instructor to have that. Every day is a different day.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
For sure.
There's no routine.
No routine.
No routine. Well, on that note, my friend.
That's a good note as any to wrap this thing up, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Looking forward to our next episode.
Mm-hmm. And I think that you had a really good idea before we started this podcast too, is to collect more input from you guys, the listeners.
Yeah.
So on that note, go to OSM Aviation /podcast or osmaviationacademy.com/podcast. And there's going to be a button there. You can submit your questions. So please ask us questions for the next episode. And I would also like to hear, from any pilots listening out there, why did you become a pilot? What do you love about flying? What do you like about this job?
The good things, the bad things. I mean,
Yeah. Just give us your perspectives, and we'd love to hear it, and we can bring it up on upcoming episode.
Yeah, definitely will.
Well, thank you, Michel. It's been a pleasure.
Happy landings.
Happy landings.
Be safe.
Blue skies.
Blue side up.
Yeah.
The best.